Hi, I have a message. So, what you need to do if you're pro-choice and an American is get the hell out there and convince other people to vote pro-choice. Or convince pro-choice people to vote, or attend pro-choice rallies to increase media coverage of those rallies, or do something more than just voting blue to assist with advancing pro-choice goals. Now, the reason why you need to do that is because I find myself remembering a story that came out a while back about a 10-year-old rape victim in Ohio who had to cross state lines into Indiana to get an abortion because the dumbasses in charge of her government decided not to make exceptions for 10-year-old rape victims when they made their trigger laws. And when I think about that story, I don't get mad at pro-lifers. Instead, I take all that seething hatred I feel and focus it all on any of you pro-choice motherfuckers who have not been, are not, or will not soon be attempting to convince other people to vote pro-choice. I'm not mad at pro-life politicians or pro-life voters or Supreme Court justices because they're all too stupid to know what they're doing is wrong. If I yell at them, it will accomplish nothing. They'll just think a bad person is yelling at them and ignore me because they think I'm a bad person. So it's rather all you lazy pieces of shit who vote pro-choice but aren't working to convince other people to share your views who I'm pissed at. And I hope you all get very bad cases of pubic lice, and I don't want you to get them from getting laid because that would be pleasant for you. Instead, I want the family of pubic lice to make big, pulsating, cozy nests in your sock drawers. And I want you to not figure that out until after you've put on your socks. I want them to crawl up into your junk. What we need, ideally before November, is a giant blue wave so we can codify Roe v. Wade or something similar to it. This time something that doesn't allow 8-week abortion bans in Texas, of course. So what I've been doing is I've made a large Facebook post of a logical argument for my pro-choice views that all my abortion-opposing Catholic relatives can see. And what I'm planning on doing is thinking up the best argument for why we need extensive abortion rights I can think of, and then I'm going to spam it all over various pro-life comment sections and Facebook groups, and then I'm going to talk to anyone who responds to me. I did that last year after Texas banned abortion after 8 weeks. I copy-pasted a few paragraphs hundreds of times over YouTube comment sections and then just had some rather lengthy discussions with people, some of which lasted several days or even weeks. And that's the main benefit of spamming. The goal is just to get people's attention so that they talk to you. I found that YouTube seems to delete links, so don't post web addresses of any data you've researched if you want to do what I did. I've found that each comment can have a maximum number of 500 replies before no more allowed. I found that after you copy-paste something beyond a few dozen to a few hundred times, it seems like YouTube will not let you comment in that comment section anymore. So I solved that problem either by making a new YouTube profile and continuing to spam the message in that comment section, or I move on to a different comment section. I've also found that YouTube seems to periodically delete posts due to certain trigger words or speech patterns. This seems to happen more often during heated discussions, so I'd avoid insulting people. What I like to do when having lengthy discussions online is every once in a while I hit the refresh button and check my comments history to be sure no posts of mine have been deleted. I think a lot of my fellow pro-choicers are very angry right now, but they focus all that anger on the pro-life side of things and don't really do much about it besides sitting around seething. The way I see it, the pro-lifers are already following their consciences. They can't change their opinions on this issue. They haven't built up the sound reasoning processes to be able to understand why they're wrong. So you have to explain to them why the reasoning processes are wrong, or they'll never change their minds. Now, I know a lot of you people are no doubt thinking such attempts are pointless. While I will admit that in the perhaps 30 hours last year I spent arguing with people about abortion, not one person ever admitted to changing their minds to agree with me. I don't think that's the form victory usually takes after debates anyway. I don't think hardly anyone ever admits they're wrong when they've been beaten in a debate. I think the most we can ever hope for is to plant a seed of ideas in the mind of the person that perhaps grows to slowly influence their perspective subtly enough that their ego won't halt its growth over days or weeks or months or years. Because I remember that exact process happening to me. I'm 37 now. In my 20s, I used to have frequent arguments with one of the founders of Atheist Ireland online relating to religious topics. I disagreed with just about all his opinions and was very rude to him. Looking back, though, I now see him as the best teacher I ever had, and I don't think I ever told him that, and he's left the website, so he'll probably never know that because of how long it took for those lessons to sink in. Furthermore, I wouldn't be surprised that there are a lot of people who just haven't thought about abortion much, because that's also how I was in my early 20s. I used to view abortion as sort of a coin flip issue with no clear right or wrong. I've now definitely changed my mind about that because I've thought about it more. So it's quite possible that there are a lot of people who just need to be confronted with some kind of sufficiently logical argument for why we need extensive abortion rights, and they'll be brought over. So everybody go out and try and help the dumbasses all around you who vote against extensive abortion rights by teaching them to have more sensible reasoning processes. As far as I'm concerned, pro-lifers are a lot like children right now. My fellow pro-choicers, even if you are a child, you are the adults in this situation. You have a patriotic duty to help the abortion-despising people build up more sensible reasoning processes, because nobody can accomplish that but us. We understand how the world works and how we have arrived at our sensible perspectives. We have to teach our knowledge to society, or else there's no way to change society. And if you're not an American, I would be grateful if you tossed your views regarding why my country needs extensive abortion rights into the pile too. Please don't feel like you're intruding into someone else's culture when you do that. I see things more like you're just helping your buddies across the sea who really use some help right now, even if a lot of us don't know it. And if you get depressed and feel like your efforts are fruitless, I encourage you to deal with that sense of despair by just talking to even more people. Think about how, thanks to the internet, a single person can influence thousands of people. Think about those news stories a while back about Russians influenced American politics through internet trolling. That was not a large group of Russians doing that, and they appeared to have a noticeable impact on our election. We could have a pretty noticeable impact on our elections through our more honest, thoughtful internet activities too.